Hi. Hello.
So, first thing I want to know is how did this project start? And then talk about the division of labor between you.
Sure. Well, it started with the screenplay, which Brady and Mona wrote I finished in around 2019, I think is when I read the first draft of that. And there was an intermission written into the script, so that was always by design. That was the plan all the way through. And DJ was there with me in the beginning, and Nick and Andrew. It was a big feat to get this movie made, and we were really starting to put the project together and had a sort of package ready to go out right when COVID hit. So we ran into a lot of delays due to COVID and cast falling in and out and financing falling in and out and location shutting down. It ended up taking several years to ultimately get it together with an entirely different cast. And I think in a lot of ways we benefited from all those delays and all those issues.
So I've been since I knew I was going to do this again, and since I saw the movie, how the hell did you make this movie for $10 million in 33 days? I literally don't know. I've been doing this for 20 years. I have no idea how you did it. Just first of all, big round of applause for that. It's just unbelievable. So now you need to tell us all how to do it.
I think it was, really knowing exactly, Brady knowing exactly what he wanted to shoot. There was, not a lot of wasteful shooting going on, so he knew he was going to shoot this corner of the room. We were only going to dress that corner. We were only going to shoot that. There was never maybe we'll shoot over here, and maybe we'll just end up on the cutting room floor. Or let's just get it anyway. So there's a lot of, it was very precise. The production was very precise. Everybody was incredibly prepared. We locations. We took over locations and multi-use out of one location, so we had very little company moves. And
we went to Hungary, and we had an amazing services company, Victoria Petrani at Proton, really is instrumental to this film being what it is. And there was sort of an organic production plan. So when we would build things, we'd have huge crews, and then when we'd go to places like Carrera, it would be 10 people on the mountain, right? Or, the Statue of Liberty, was 4 people in a boat. So there was a real, we were trying to match the plan to what we were doing versus keeping, massive crews the whole time. And that followed through with everything.
If you had to guess, what would it cost to do this movie in the States? I'm sure you didn't do that math, but...
I think
at least twice.
Yeah, 2030.
2030. I mean, in Hungary...
If we were sitting here having the same conversation and you said, this 25 million, I would say the same thing. How did you make this movie for $25 million?
It's about the same approach. That discipline that Brady has, and
everybody really paddling in the same direction. I mean, every department is so lean and so focused and so sort of hip to the plan. They really... Brady's sort of a Pied Piper in a way. I mean, he really brings the exact right person for every role. They're so prepared. They're so in line with his goals and his vision. And so every department is just as lean and as focused as it can possibly be. And that's sort of how you get here.
And back to your question, everyone knows now what the schedule was, but the first schedule was 62 days.
Right.
That was the original plan, was to do it
No, that wasn't the plan. That wasn't the plan. But the first schedule that we got in was 62 days. And
that was a line producer who didn't end up doing it.
But it was a 165-page screenplay. So, when you're sitting down to make a schedule.
This is not the plan. He's like, well, this is what you need to do it in. We're like, well, that's not what we're going to do it in.
The period nature of it, the number of years that you cover, the amount of construction. I know you were using the same location and multi-purpose, but that library itself, there were so many things that feel just impossible to do.
But if you think about the library, it's very beautiful, very simple things, right? It's just wood, and the real trick is that they all open at the same time. That's the magic trick. And then, you know, otherwise it's just simple, beautiful things. And so you're not spending tons of money on extra things, just a few things well done. And that's Judy and Brady, you know, real vision.
I think we should go to the what was the worst day on set?
We didn't have any
Yeah,
bad days
come
on
on.
set.
You had a bad day.
the-
Even if they were mostly good days, what was
I got COVID. So that was
that's a bad day?
I think it was windy one day, and one of the concrete pylons, which was not concrete, it was made of like cardboard, but from far away it looked like concrete, hit someone.
Okay, I don't believe
hit
you.
someone, and-
But people aren't voting anymore. We can now.
yeah, that was a bad day. Bad day, yeah.
It was very cold and windy on that hill when we shot that scene. Yeah, that was rough.
Did
Maybe
anyone
the-
have a temper tantrum? Was there ever the? You don't even have to use
No. Everyone knew what they were signing up for, so everyone was great.
No temper tantrum.
Yeah, no temperature.
I thought this question would be the one that would get the story, that was the juicy story.
we got lucky. There was none of that. No bad behavior.
I think when you say, look, this is what we're doing, this is how little money you have, we're bringing you halfway across the world, like, people say no early.
Very true. Yeah.
Okay, so last question, I think. So how did there's four of you up here. How do you divide, sort of like, how do four producers, and there's more producers on this movie credited, like, how does the division of labor really work?
I mean, there was a lot of communication. We were in constant communication, and I think we were really dividing and conquering. And I think we were just crisscrossing, but never. I mean, it was, you know, we were across everything.
I mean, we would, you know, in prep and production, we would, you know, split up which department heads we were most responsible for, which elements of production and financing we were most responsible for, who was handling our, you know, our negative pickup partner more. Like, you know, it was really like, you know, you make this movie because there's an enormous amount of stuff to do, and we have no support. So you need this many.
And we worked really well as a team. I mean, teamwork makes the dream work. You know?
That is the line to end on. Thank you, nominees for the Brutalist, for joining us.